And we are live. Oh my goodness. This is Darla Macala with Loveseat Conversations. And it's been a fun few last minutes because my guest and I have had a lot of fun trying to go live, but it didn't work out. So we're going to record this and you're going to get to see our smiling faces later on. So anyway, welcome to Loveseat Conversations. Like I said, I'm your hostess, Darla Macala, your visionary leader. And I am so excited to have one of my dear friends and clients and co-entrepreneur on here to talk about creativity through adversity. And the fun thing about this video or this interview is we both have the same name. So you won't have to remember who said what. Darla said it all. So I have Darla Roberts with me and we're going to just be talking. When we're Loveseat Conversations is all about being real, and it's about being, you know what, if we make mistakes, if technology doesn't work, we find another way and we go with it and we have fun. It's not about being prim and proper or anything. I don't script this. It's all about relationships and sharing what we have to what we've experienced with the world. And so we are happy that you're taking the time to listen, to watch, whichever avenue you're getting this. But Darla is going to share with us a little bit about how she has used creativity to overcome adversity in her life in the last few years, and maybe even longer than the last few years. But without further ado, I'm just going to let Darla go ahead. And Darla, would you please share with us a little bit about what we're talking about today, about how this has impacted your life and how you've been able to use creativity to really walk through the adversity. We all know that when we have adversity, we have to go through it, right? We never get to skip around it or push it off to the side. So you have had to learn how to go through that adversity, and you have used creativity to help you be successful through that. So share a little bit, and then we're just going to talk. I got questions.
Okay.
You probably got answers, and
Okay.
go for it.
So I have had my paper crafting business over 19 years, almost 20 years. And when I first started off, God had other plans right at the beginning. I was not going to do anything with it 19 years later. So my dad died 5 years ago. My brother died 4 years ago. And then my mother-in-law moved in with Alzheimer's that November of that same year that my brother died. So it's like I just got over, I don't think you ever get over a grief.
Right.
But I was just starting, and then my brother, he died of cancer, and then my mother-in-law moved in, and I became a caregiver, a very untrained caregiver, because I'd never even been around anybody with this disease. It's a horrible disease. But anyway, God gave that to me. And so I had to work through it. So it's been almost 4 years. And we got the answered prayer we needed last week, and she is getting the help that she needs, and I'm getting the help that I need. And my business is, I'm in my stamping cave, and this is where I can be creative. And when I'm having those bad days or those bad moments, I can come in my happy place and I can take a plain piece of paper, stamp on it with ink, paper, and a stamp set, and it's like instant gratification. And I just still get that instant gratification, and it's like I'm being creative. And I never realized I was creative with paper crafting until I tried it. And it's just, my business has evolved from coming in here to really coming in here to get that self-care that I need. We all need self-care in some way. And being the caregiver for almost 4 years, I was neglecting myself so bad, and it's affected my health. And I love being in my place. And I love inspiring others that they too can be creative. And when we go through the adversities, because we're all going to go through them, big or small.
Right.
Now we're, might go through something again. I'm sure that, wish we knew, but we just have to go with it. And with your training, with coaching with you has just been just I'm speechless. The difference when we first started, I
Yeah.
mean, I was
Oh,
crying all the time and just like, finally got my bubbly self back. That's like people see me, I'm always
yeah.
smiling, I'm bubbly, and they're seeing that again. And that's been hidden for a very long time. So,
It's been such, you said so many things in there that we're going to go back to because like so many nuggets, but it's been a true joy. And I remember when we first talked, you're like, I want to get my happy back. You want to be
yes.
happy. And I was like thinking about that yesterday and I'm like, she's like laughing all the time now. And taking action, and that's been like really powerful too. And I know you've taken action in the past because obviously you were telling me about some of your successes with your business, but since we were working together just the last few weeks when that happy was coming back, I could see like taking action too. But one of the things I want to go back to that you talked about that you just said, and you probably don't even realize the impact of what you said, but you said you were talking about your mother-in-law and the challenges of her coming. You were untrained. And then you said, God gave that to me. And I want to talk about that because I think that's a really powerful point to realize that, oftentimes when we have trials or tribulations or adversity, we get mad, we get angry at God, we wonder why. But you said God gave that to me, which when we give something to someone, it's a gift, right? And so I see that as you like recognizing that God gave you this gift, even though it was hard and it took a toll, but you probably learned a lot throughout this journey, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes.
Share with us a couple of the key points that you learned just that could help somebody else if they're going through trial and adversity. Yeah, just share
I
with
do
us.
remember, I remember vividly, I was just like, why? Why is this happening? That was like
Yeah,
my first like reaction. And then I was like, okay, this is gonna be temporary. And so I felt like at that time it's just gonna be temporary. And the
sure. Yeah,
situation changed very quickly.
yeah,
But there's been so many blessings out of it. Um, the communication that my husband and I have now, after we've been married almost 34 years, and communication has always been tough on us.
sure.
Um, this is the toughest thing we've gone through as a marriage, as a married couple. And you either have to work through it. We've talked about this. You either work through it or you walk.
Right,
And
right.
walking at just like one little point wasn't like walking away from him. It was just walking away from all the responsibility that I
Yeah,
felt,
yeah.
and ouch, this is real. I just about killed my ear there. My earring's on the floor now, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm creative. I have one earring today.
Oh, there you go. It's beautiful.
Just that communication that has been opened and it just keeps getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And before facing this, we probably wouldn't be where we are right now as far as being able to get through stuff. So
Yeah,
it's like we got through that, or we're getting through that. What else do we need to get through,
right,
together?
right.
And we're ready.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey that the two of you have gone through.
Definitely.
Obviously mom too, she was
Right.
that third person, but as
Right.
caregivers, the two of you, it sounds like have really learned to talk and communicate because it wasn't just you anymore, or your kids as they were growing up. It was this like vulnerable person that needed you and you needed to learn how to care for her.
Yeah, we
And
had just became an empty nest again.
oh wow.
This youngest came back a couple times and then she moved in. I remember her saying, "Yep, I'm your big kid now."
Oh,
We had a
how
really
cute.
good laugh. That was in the
Oh, sweet.
beginning,
Yeah, yeah.
and the disease just progressed. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just all in long, I probably didn't know it at the time, but I knew there was going to be a solution.
Yeah.
Um, Pre-COVID, we had it all situated, and then COVID, hit. But COVID's been a blessing too for some things. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my presence online and my presence of inspiring people online, that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened
Yep.
locally. I mean,
Absolutely.
like my local businesses, I don't have a local business right now because
Yeah.
I'm not,
Because
health
you haven't been
wise,
able to
it's
go
like,
out.
you know, I'm okay online. I love it online, but I
Yeah.
just get to inspire more people. That's how we met. We met
Mhm.
online. We met through
Absolutely. Yeah.
your awesome Christian group, and
Yeah.
it's like God has a plan.
Yeah.
Going through that, I didn't see that, of course, at the time, but last couple of years, God has just shown me so many new, especially Christian friends that I'd walked away from, and just renewing and friendships and just new friends. And
Mhm.
it's all through this adversity. And thank God for it because I've grown, and it's just, and I give God all the glory. Like I'm back into devotions, I'm back into, just being present
Yep.
and, with my faith. And in fact, that's my word for this year's faith. And I guess I'm living it through the adversity.
Yeah.
So if
And
I
I
can do it, anybody can do it, because just you got to rely
right.
on God.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, we all went through, and I think that's the powerful thing about you know, the last year and a half, at some point people aren't going to know what we're talking about when we say the last year and a half. But when we think about COVID and once that hit, it's like we had to either take up and trust God and keep moving and take action in a different way, or the other option was to sit back. And I know that there are businesses, people, entrepreneurs that said, this isn't working, I'm not going out. But yet you were like, you like, you know what? I'm taking up on over here, and now your business has probably grown, and or at least you've gotten a lot more connections. I know for me, I mean, my community of friends has grown so much by being basically forced to go online.
Right?
And it's such a blessing. I don't know that I would be doing this kind of thing if it hadn't been for like, hey, let's get creative, right? Let's get creative.
Right?
So I know that you also talked about your little safe haven where you're
Yep.
at, your cave is what you call it. And so I want you to talk about a little bit about how obviously, well, you can share the story more, but I know that that's a room that your husband recently redid for you. You and your
Yes.
husband did it together.
Yes.
Like you designed it because you wanted it to be something that you felt like peaceful and safe in. And so while some people might not have that opportunity, I think everybody has an opportunity to find some place or some space.
Yep.
Space might be your bedroom for 15 minutes a day, but
Right.
share with us a little about how having that space for you has helped you, like when there's a rough day or it's the challenges of caregiving were kind of overwhelming, like how you were able to use that space. And I want, if you're listening to us, I want you to well, obviously you're listening to us, but I want you to think about, like, you might not have a spare bedroom or a spare office, but as Darla is sharing this, I want you to think about where your space could be. And you can share in the comments too. What is the space? Like, we want to hear from you. What is that space that you go to, or that you could create for yourself to do that self-care that Darla's shared about?
Well, the first thing that we talked about together was mindset. And when I come in my newly um, space, it's like a beachy feel. I love the beach. I live in Arizona, so there's really not a lot of beach around. So
Well, I
I
live in
have
Minnesota, so we got
created,
nothing for beaches.
created the
We have to
blue
make
that,
our own beaches.
and it's just
Yeah.
when I'm in here, it's just like I have confidence in myself. I can shut the door and just kind of shut off like what's going on. And I mean, you can, with mindset, you can go outside and just sit by yourself. And maybe even just if stamping's not your thing, take a book or just, have that time. And And a good friend said, if you're angry, you can't come in this room because this needs to stay your happy place. She
Mm-hmm.
said, you need to find another room. So I had to go a couple times to my bedroom and just kind of calm down. And
Yeah.
but if you don't have a space, it's just, I think it's mindset too. I mean, you can go to your dining room table
Yep.
with a plain piece of paper and even just a marker, and then
Yep.
just either if you journal or if you like to draw. I cannot draw. I do not like Pictionary. I can't even, like, I can draw stick people, but that's it. But give me a stamp and give me some ink and give me some paper. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that.
Yes, and I think that if you're listening to any of our listeners that might be saying like, well, you're crafty and I'm not. Here's the thing that I believe, and I bet you believe it too. I believe that every single person is creative. Whether it's creative in, maybe you're like creative in like creating lessons or creating, copy or writing or whatever it is, every single person is creative. And what you're sharing with us is that creativity that you allowed to flow through your life and to to step up and take action with it, that's what kept you going. That's a piece of what kept you going. Obviously your
Right.
faith and different things, that tools that you had to use to cope with that too, but being able to recognize your creativity, I think, is one thing. So where are you creative? Because creative is not about drawing or stamping or painting. Creative is about, where is it that you're imagining, where is that vision, that where's your vision going? And I heard you talk about, like when you do lives,
Mm-hmm.
and how you love doing that because you're sharing and you're encouraging other people, right?
Yeah.
And I think I kind of like to stamp, but what I love is when somebody does it for me and gives it to me as a gift, or shows me, like gives
Noted.
gives me the template. I have a sister, I think I shared this with you last weekend. I have a sister that loves to stamp, and every once in a while for like a birthday or something, she'll give me like 20 cards, and I'm like, yes. And I'm kind of like, I'm almost out. Um, but that's the thing, like I've been blessed by your creativity. I've been blessed by other people's creativity, even though it's not the way that I would be creative.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Yep.
And we all have. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm not very creative. No, you are creative. And what we're hearing from you, Darla, is, you know what, when you take that creativity and you let God like use you through that creativity, whatever it is, people are going to be blessed, but also you're going to be blessed.
Oh,
That's going to give
definitely.
you, yeah.
Definitely.
So I think it's just beautiful. I love when you go on, live in your group, and in a moment, I'm going to have you share how people can connect with you, because we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to take part in that. But if you're not, I just want to encourage you, if you feel like you're not creative, just sit down and watch one of Darla's videos and just even let God show you, like, okay, this is where I'm creative. But it's also, the last thing we're going to talk about is the taking action part. So, knowing you're creative, you started this, and I know when you started your business, you were just going to do it for yourself, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
But you became, and you were telling me the story about the Darla sign in the background
Right?
before we started. And so you can share that in a sec
Okay.
when you share with us the action piece. Like, how important is it to take action with your creativity, and what happens when you don't? Or what happens when you do? Tell us what happens when you do.
When you do, I get to inspire a lot more people. I'm actually being creative myself. I say it got really rough about a year ago. Like it was just like, it was ongoing, and just like, that's when my health started having some issues. And I would just binge watch videos all day long. And I finally told myself, you could be in there, you could be in your stamping cave stamping, and you could still be watching videos.
Yeah.
But I was like, poor pity me those days. And it's just like, depression hit. And I'm just being honest. It's just like, but I can, so I finally like, okay, I'm going to start doing the videos. Like I watch videos, I love watching them. And I could sit there all day long and just not do anything, and it's like, this is not very good way to grow my business, especially online. I mean,
you don't get paid to watch other people's videos, do you?
Yeah, they're creative and I'm getting ideas.
Yeah.
But when I use my own hands and put my own spin to it, and I'm a pretty quick, simple stamper, and I'm not like, it's not going to take 5 hours to make one card.
Yes,
That's not me. If you're looking for that, that's good. I'm not your demonstrator. I'm just not. You have to make 20 cards in like short a time, inspire more people through my 20 cards.
That's my kind of stuff.
It's just like, but when you do it, I've been doing this 19 years, like I said, about, I want to say 8 years ago. I lost my job that I was working at a medical office. It was my first medical office as receptionist. I loved it. And 10 years ago, I got diagnosed with some throat issues. And I lost my job because of that, because it's hard to answer the phone at an infectious disease specialist office when you can't even talk. Yeah. And they thought it was allergies. And so they're like, we're just going to let you go. And they were all, all these doctors, and they knew something was wrong. They just, couldn't pinpoint it. So that was such a blessing to lose my job like that. And the first thing I told my husband, so I had a surgery right after that for stomach issues. And after that, I said, so that was in August. In September, I remember saying, I'm going to do this full time. He's like, okay, that's fine. I don't want you to be bored. I'm like, I'm not going to be bored. He doesn't ask that anymore. 5 years ago, I earned Founder Circle, which is the first and last, because they stopped doing it. It was my first, is the top 100 US demonstrators.
Wow.
And I ranked, I can't remember my numbers, but I have a post somewhere, like on Canva that I did. I ranked in the US and globally. And wow. I was just like, and when they called my name, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I stopped watching the videos all day long. And because even before all this, I something would go wrong, and it was just like I binge watch videos. And this is before I even, but now that I'm doing videos myself, I've stopped saying that my throat issues is a crutch, because again, God wants me to inspire people through this, because like we've tried this before, and it just didn't work out for the interview, and and it's a good voice day, and I'm not having any of my issues that I have, and I go to my voice therapist, and she's encouraging me to do the videos. But yeah, when I finally decided, like, wow, this is a chance that I could really, get online and really service my long distance customers in like a different way. And that was my very first thought, because they always want to come to my card classes, but they don't live here.
Yeah.
So I've got a new in my head right now. It's almost coming to play, but I'm going to start like to-go classes for card kits that will include a little bit of product. And it's just a way that I've thought about for a long time to service my long distance customers. Nice. And now that my, the online presence has grown, I'm excited to offer that, to more people. But I remember you said about COVID. I remember distinctively, we were walking at the park, and we were all three walking. And I told my husband in December that I was slowing down. I said, I probably earned my last trip. I'd earned 3 trips. And I said, I feel like I need to concentrate on this right now. He's like, oh, good. As long, his mom. Yeah. He said, as long as you're good with that. And I said, I feel 20 pounds lighter just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fast forward, COVID starts,
Yeah.
and Darla is online like that because I wanted to learn, and this is still my mindset. I want to keep learning
Mm-hmm.
online stuff to keep growing that. And it just gets my mind off of what's outside that door, what's outside this door, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm glad I told him that because I did feel better telling him that. But now it's like, oh, forget what I said about.
I take it back. I take it back.
He's excited about this next trip that I can earn. And he's just like, he doesn't even ask if I'm bored anymore. That's for sure. You know,
awesome.
so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, what a testimony of just really embracing your creativity and taking action so that you're not living sadly, right?
Right.
So you can live in that happy place that God has for you. And I think like also when we take action, it allows God to open up doors, because if we just sit and
True.
watch movies all day or whatever it is that someone might be doing instead of taking action, that doesn't allow God to move in our life. And so by doing that, you've just opened up yourself and your family to see some really cool things, right?
And I took action to work with you. I mean, I
Yes,
just knew it was
absolutely.
right, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah, and for you, when we met, it was kind of like, I knew that this would be good for you, but you also came back right away and was like, okay, I'm ready. And that's really where like working with coach, working with, if you sign up under somebody, it's like when you're ready, that's when God can move and do things. When
Definitely.
we sit back and say like, oh, I can't afford that, or I'm not ready for that, and we sit in our love seat and don't do anything, right? We miss out on what God has for us. And so thank you for taking the giving me the honor and the privilege of working with you. It's been a pleasure. I have a question just before we share where people can find you. I'm just wondering, do you have any other like tips or any other thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners about using that creativity through adversity or anything else? Maybe something else is on your heart right now.
It's kind of weird because, well, not weird, but it's a God thing. In my devotional yesterday, in fact, you told me about this. And as I write down my words for the devotional, it was all about realizing that this is all God. Like you're going through either good or bad, it's all God. And it's just like, I used to be a hairdresser, so I knew I was creative in that way, but I had no clue that I was creative with paper, like I said.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody's creative. Like some people are creative in designing in Canva.
Yeah.
That's creativity.
Yeah, very much. Yep.
I don't have that.
Oh, I bet you do.
I'm getting better with it,
Yeah.
but that's not like my love of creativity. Sure. But there's creativity. In fact, on my business page, I posted a long time ago that there's different types of creativity. It's like you can be creative at work, in sports. It's not just using your hands. It's not just paper.
Yep.
It's not just making a card, or doing a scrapbook or anything like that. Like you said, creativity comes in so many different forms. Mm-hmm. But if you're going through something, just really important to get self-care. And if self-care is getting a manicure, getting a pedicure, going to a movie by yourself, and these are things that I've done because I love going to movies by myself. I never did before. Yep. And I don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. I felt guilty when I would go to the movie by myself. I felt guilty when I took myself to lunch. Mm-hmm. I felt guilty when I would leave my mother-in-law here at the house. I felt guilty because I should have been there. If something would have happened, but then I'm like, no, you deserve this. You have to do self-care. Yeah. And your health is very important. When you're a caregiver, or in that
for sure.
situation, they always say the caregiver is the one that gets sick. And boy, believe it, because I totally can relate. But now it's like, I don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
So don't feel guilty. I take bubble baths. I don't feel guilty. I've taken my time, and my husband's he was very supportive about, I'm home, go somewhere. Like, it was hard for me just to like leave and go somewhere, because that was my responsibility, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
But it's just lifting that up and just giving yourself that permission to do the self-care, whatever that self-care looks for you, and just to rely on God. I had walked away so many times, and I come back, and then, you know, God leads me to you. He leads me to your group. And from that, opportunities from your group have just been all God given. And it's just been, and that all started by signing the dotted line 19 years ago.
Awesome. So take the leap, even if you don't know what you're doing.
Right?
Awesome. Well, before we go quick, tell us where, and we're going to post all these in the comments, or I'll put it in the text too, but tell us where they can find you if they're interested in signing up to also be a distributor, how they can do that. Probably just wherever they can find you. So share your
and we're gonna type it out too.
Yes, we'll type it out. Yeah.
So the number one spot I would say is my blog. It's www. Excuse me. There it is. I forgot I did this on my board.
Stampingwithdarla.com. Yay. Awesome. Okay.
And without the G. From there, all of like my online stores, their link is there at the top, online store, how to join me, how to get more information, how to join my Facebook page. I have a fun creative group. I used to name it something else. Now it is Stamping with Darla Creative Community for my group. It's a free group. I welcome demonstrators. I welcome, if you don't think you're crafty, you are. We just talked about that. If you're looking for creative friends, if you're looking for crafty friends, we talk paper crafting. Mostly it's the ink pad, the paper, and what am I using? Ink, paper, and stamp set.
Okay. Yeah. But you do a lot of
all over.
You do a lot of like tutorials
media
in there. So I think that's good to know that you do a lot of, so like if you're looking to be like, man, I just could use some ideas. Darla has a lot of videos, and obviously once you put a video out, it's up there forever. So join her group. That's amazing if you haven't already.
In fact, I go live at 1:00 Arizona time, which is PST, Pacific time right now, because we don't change when you guys all change. Weird.
Which will be nice, because then there'll only be a 1 hour delay with my PST
it's so weird.
friends.
After 20 years of being here, it's still, but I started a WWSC, it's weekly Wednesday sketch challenge. And it's a fun thing I started. And I think today is, I want to say number 5 that I've done every Wednesday. And it goes in my group, and it's just a video that I show a different sketch every week. And so I'm inspiring with nothing hard. And if you don't have the products that I sell, you can use whatever products you like. I'm not, stipulation on that. Just to share your creativity.
Cool.
That's what we're all about in the group.
Awesome. So thank you, Darla. I appreciate this. It's an honor. I know we love doing that, don't we? Her's like, Darla. But seriously, for those of you watching and listening, we're grateful for your time. And I really encourage you, connect with Darla. She's a shining light of energy and joy and happiness. And it's just a blessing to be a part of your journey and a part of your life as your friend. And so we leave you with that, and check the comments so you can get all of those links to find Darla. And Darla, if you've got any like free offerings or whatever, make sure you post that in the comments. Okay.
That reminds me, I need to edit something, and then I'll be able to post it.
Okay. Perfect.
It's a new thing that I didn't, but I need to fix it.
Okay. Yep. Put that in the comments. We'll talk to you soon, everyone.